Morning, my fellow human beings. Dion Harper here. Oh, delicate situation for me anyway. Life, some of the things you just cannot predict. Last 4 or 5 years I've had a bit of a breathing issue pop up. It's quite serious from my perspective. The easiest way to explain it at the moment, and it's very deceptive how I am at the moment, it gets pretty bad, dire, one breath away from hitting the ground sort of thing. And I have hit the ground a few times now. But yeah, easiest way to explain it is I feel like I'm in a out of control sauna, like out of control, trying to gasp for every breath. At the best time sort of thing. It's not too bad at the moment. I've got all the windows open, fans going, etc., etc., but it gets pretty bad. And yeah, and the other half of it is during the summer months, I sort of get a half a breath and then it just stops. It's like gasping for breath, one breath away from hitting the ground again sort of thing, which has happened. Last 4 or 5 months, a dizziness thing has kicked in for some reason. But yeah, to go backpedal a little bit, into 2023, I really started noticing it to the degree that I gave up cigarettes cold turkey on the spot. Haven't had one since. Is what it is. I'm proud of it, but it hasn't really helped my breathing issues. End of last year, I start of summer. Breathing went sideways, ended up at my doctor's in the emergency department. Diagnosis, nothing much there. Something called orthopnea. They diagnosed me off the cuff, and that was because of a CK enzyme issue. Then a couple of months ago, I ended up calling an ambulance. I was admitted into hospital for 3 or 4 days. They put me in a cardiac care unit. Initially, they diagnosed me with something called restrictive lung disease, but that was retracted as we went further in. So it's come down to a basic diagnosis by my doctor of emphysema, based on, I used to be a smoker, but that's about it. My current situation is I have a lung function test scheduled for mid next week. I know what it'll be. I've had one before. Yeah, won't be the best, but it is what it is. And the other test I've got is scheduled for mid-May, is a gastroscopy sort of procedure where they put a camera in my tummy, see what's going on, and that's in regards to, maybe there's some pressure on my diaphragm, re the CK enzyme sort of stuff, which muscles around heart, lungs, that sort of stuff. Maybe it's affecting my diaphragm, or maybe an internal hernia or something's obstructing something somewhere. So they are the 2 tests I've got scheduled at the moment. But the big factor for me that I'm trying to figure out at the moment, I don't want to butt heads too much. I just want it resolved. Is I've been living in a publicly owned home for a number of years now, life circumstances, etc. It's managed by Human Services. I'm very appreciative to be residing here. I'm thankful, but yeah, the last 4 or 5 years my breathing issues has popped up. Cigarettes, as I mentioned, into 2023. Breathing issues have gone sideways the last few months, in particular. But in regards to this home I reside in, I started putting the dots together towards the end of last year, and this year in particular. A lot of issues I've noticed over the years. It's been there, but I thought, it is what it is. There's a lot of people a lot worse off. It is what it is. I noticed years back mould on the ceilings in the back rooms, dew on the walls, on the inside of the house, all the window sills and windows, water running down the inside of the house to the degree that all the paint's gone down to the raw wood, etc. All the carpets were rotten out. The basic sort of stuff, mould issues, around the place. But yeah, I started, something's got to be done this year, so I started approaching Human Services, and it's been an arduous process. It's not been easy. Lots of phone calls, to be honest, unanswered, etc. But eventually it got to a point where they sent an inspector out and they acknowledged there's some mould issues and ventilation issues. They reckon all the vents on the walls were blocked up. The inspector did anyway. So bit of back and forth, I said, heading towards 60 now. I'd like to, if possible, see my days out here. What can be done about it? So back and forth, they agreed to put in 16, it hasn't been done yet, but 16 air ventilation ports in the walls to help with air circulation in the house and maybe lower the mould situation. They agreed to replace the carpets in the bedrooms and the hallway and put some lino in the lounge room and a couple other little things, replaced a fan in the bathroom, etc. So yeah, it's sort of okay. So we're getting things underway. Hopefully it'll sort of help with my breathing situation as time goes by. So in the last month or so, they've replaced the carpet in the hallway and did the lino in the in the lounge room, and where the semi-old noggin sort of started kicking over was when the contractor did the lino in the lounge room. He wasn't happy. He couldn't use his nail gun to nail it down all the underlay for the new lino. So he had to go around and literally hammer in hundreds of nails very carefully by hand, because wood was very fragile because the floorboards were too soft. Was basically the problem he explained to me. I thought, and it didn't really cross my mind at the time, but it did a couple of days later. Could that be related to the other issues in the house, mould, etc.? I mean, soft floorboards doesn't really sound right to me. So I've started doing a little bit of research, etc. And as near as I can tell, that sort of situation is most likely because of a rising dampness sort of issue. So I kept looking around, and I started going outside the house, and I noticed it many years ago, but I didn't really think much about it. There's what they call sub-ventilation ports all around the house. All houses should have them. But the ones out the back, there's 5 of them on the back of the house. I don't know, it doesn't feel, maybe the people before me altered it or something, I don't know, but units been put in the backyard since several years ago. But the sub-ventilation ports in the backyard are literally at ground level. I mean, literally. And if I tip a little bucket of water on the ground, half that bucket will go under the house if I tip it next to those sub-ventilation ports. So I started thinking about it, and I realised that quite possibly, most likely, that is the cause for the soft floorboards, and most likely all the mould issues, apart from the ventilation issues in the house. That is probably the reason why this house has mould issues, etc. going on. So I've contacted Human Services because my breathing's quite bad. I just can't. It's deceptive how I am now, but it's quite bad. This is early in the morning. I've got all the windows open, etc. So I contacted Human Services about 10, 12 days ago, and I've said, look, it's it, I want out. I want to transfer. You can downgrade me, put me in a unit, whatever. Everybody's gone these days. I'm sort of living on my own, so I'm happy to downgrade, etc. And I did that via an email about 10, 12 days ago. I need to move on and try to get myself in a situation where maybe I can get my life back on track, read my breathing, and get out there and perhaps get involved in the community. I've got some neck back concerns, but breathing's the thing that's really messing me up lately. Maybe I can get back out in the community over time if my lungs heal or whatever, because I'm quite sure it's come down to years worth of basically living in amongst mould is my issue. So yeah, I approached them that the issue is they haven't gotten back to me at all. Since the email, I've tried to ring the main office a few times. I've tried to text the person at my contact point at Human Services a couple of times. Nothing, not a word. And this isn't new. There was a lot of problem to get the process underway, really trying to fix the house in the first place. And now the soft floorboards, sub-ventilation ports out the back, which I might say it's not. I've looked at it. It's not building code. It's not up to scratch. It's highly off. OHS sort of issues, and if it's causing my breathing issues, that's straight out negligence as far as I'm concerned. They even had an inspector here earlier in the year and picked up on all the mould issues, etc. Even then, the inspector should have picked up on that straight away. So just all the way through, there's a bit of a problem there. But that's not my highest priority in this moment. In this moment, I want out. I'd like to be put in a appropriate for my situation. It's got to have good ventilation, good heating, good cooling. Carpet, it's very dodgy. I walk in a room with carpet, it's a bit of an issue now with breathing. But I'd like to relocate. They can take this house back, do whatever, sell it, etc. But I personally, I wouldn't want anything to do with selling a house like this onto another, particularly family who might have some children. But my situation is I want out. Please take the property back. Please put me in a self-contained unit, and you won't hear from me again, so to speak. I just want to be able to have a chance to breathe normally. And try and get another 20 years out, maybe, or 20 years out of my life. I want to just at least have a chance at that happening. At the moment, I'm quite confident because I've hit the ground a couple of times in the last, since Christmas sort of thing. I've ended up in hospital. I'm quite confident come next summer it'll be hit the ground and probably my days are numbered sort of thing. And like I said, me breathing here, it's deceptive. It can, as soon as the environment changes around me, it goes from, okay, I'm sitting here, I've learnt to shallow breathe, etc. Looks all right, but it's not. It's just not. I'd stake my life on it. I'd stake the folk that are dear to me. I'd stake their lives on it, sort of thing. I've got a serious breathing problem. So that's my situation at the moment. I'm really hoping Human Services contact me early next week. Otherwise, the situation, I'm going to escalate it in a very polite way. I will escalate it in any way that I can. And if that's complaints to Human Services, to ringing local politicians, to contacting the Ombudsman, to forfeiting a lot of my online activities, real climate change problems, to try and resolve this side of things, then so be it. Because if I drop next year anyway, what can I do about our climate change problems anyway? So if it's all on the line for me, which it is as far as I'm concerned, with my breathing issues, then it's all on the line. Until it's resolved, it's all on the line. So I'm quite upset about this, to be honest. I'm trying to control my emotions at the moment, but I'm quite devastated. I've just had some positive news in regards to folk dear to me. I want to see it all play out in the years coming, and I can't do that if I'm 6 feet under. That might sound like, Dion's been a bit, over dramatic here. He seems all right, but I stake my life on it. I've got some serious breathing issues. It's 24/7. I've hit the ground a few times, ended up in the hospital, and to know my history, I've had a lot of folk dear to me, very ill, hospital stuff, etc. A lot of past, etc. I'm wary. I don't want to go near hospitals, but my situation, I had to call an ambulance, sort of thing, because my breathing's so bad. So come next week, if Human Services doesn't contact me, and this video, in my way, this is a fair notice. I'm not mucking around. You may as well come and knock on my door if you're not going to play ball, because I'll start knocking on doors until I either lose my means in regards to how I knock on those doors in ways that may grab some attention, or something's done. So, any which way, I'm sort of putting it out there that I kind of hope people will start knocking on my doors. Sooner the better, but in regards to, okay, not the handcuffs or anything like that, because I've been down that road too in regards to my polite online activities, real climate change problems back in 2015 and 2017. 2015 they got me for 10 days, secure location, etc. Hassled me about climate change, why you're delusional about it, sort of thing, and I'm not. it's quite a real situation. It's just a nuts and bolts science sort of scenario. In 2017, they got me for another 10 days and then closely monitored me for close to 6 months after that. Very serious stuff. But yeah, on this occasion, I'm kind of hoping they knock on my door, but for a different situation. It's no skin off my nose. Whoever can knock on my door, and I've had a lot of serious people knock on my door. We're here to help you with the house situation, and let's try to get you on track. Now, I know there's a lot of people on this planet that are way worse off than me. The situation's quite dire, as in millions of people, probably billions. But my situation is what it is, and I need to have an understanding as to where I'm heading, so I can, start at least trying to think about the future again. Because I don't do that anymore. I'm down to, can I get through today? It's just breaks my heart. It really does. Yeah, fair notice. And I'm talking about the local level politicians, etc. You know what I'm like from the road already travelled. I won't hesitate. I'll rock that boat in a very polite way, best I can anyway, for the means I have. I may be a broken-bodied disability pensioner, but I've set up my network. Unless you can take out that network and make me go away, so to speak, I recommend we try and resolve this issue to the degree that I can move past my breathing issues. I'm trying to get it on the mend. Where were we? Sort of a situation. Yeah. I'll leave it there, my fellow human beings. Otherwise, I'll get sidetracked. I'll gnarly up in a polite way, but I can gnarly up. Not shying that way. It is what it is. Life. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that, my fellow human beings. Regards, Dion. Peace to you and all, including all future loved ones as yet to come. Gone.